Hey everybody, it's Ted from It's All About the Rack. Today I'm going to be doing some testing on some premium charcoals and a Hunsaker drum. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Today what we're going to be doing, like I said, is some testing on some premium charcoal brands with a higher end drum type smoker. If you guys are not familiar, this is a Hunsaker Drum. Show you a little bit about that to come. But basically we've got 7 different bags of some premium charcoals. Some of them were actually sent to me for free from the manufacturers, debating whether I'm actually going to say who they are because I don't want it to sway any type of testing or favoritism or anything like that. Straight up testing. So we've got B&B standard charcoal. We got some Sugar Creek, Good One, Rockwood, Fogo. Got some B&B char log. Never really seen any testing too much on those, so I figured I'd pick up a bag of those, see what those are all about. And then also some Jealous Devil. Plan is basically going to dump it out, show you chunk size. I'll also be able to basically weigh some out, get it started up, see how long it takes to come to temperature, see how long it sustains the temperature, also see how much ash output is from that, and maybe something else, we'll see. But let me get these bags opened up and I'll show you what's to come after that. All right, so first one to test is going to be B&B. These are just going to be in alphabetical order again. No particular sway to any one brand, whether it was free or not. So go ahead and open up this bag and take a look at the lump size here. Okay, so some good mixture of pieces. Got some nice bigger chunks in there, some smaller fines. And nothing breaks. Now, nothing's breaking up at this point, maybe just that one piece. And like I said, basically what we're going to do is take a certain measured amount of this, so the tests are even between all of them. And we'll be running that burn test from here, so we'll be right back. This is the test on the B&B premium lump. And just started the timer, so we'll have this run for the next 10 minutes, get it up to temp, and then we'll be dropping it in the basket. And we're at the 5-minute mark, so I'm gonna shut the exhaust down to about 1/8 or 1/4. Shut our foot pedal off to the run position, and currently you can see TapQ says 138 and stack temp I'd say is right at that 138 as well. So we're going to check back in 5 more minutes. Okay, we're at the 10-minute mark with the B&B lump, and our TapQ is reading 255, and our stack is probably around that same 230. So we'll check back in 10 minutes. And the 20-minute mark. TapQ is reading 254. And stack temp is still maintaining. So I would say we probably reached our max temperature of 257. So think at this point, I'm gonna go ahead and call a test for the B&B lump at, like I say, max temp of 257, and we could go duration time till we hit a certain temp. I guess that definitely does have some bearing in the test. So I think maybe what I'll do is I'll go ahead and test it to say 230 or 235, maybe somewhere right around that temperature. Whenever it hits one of those temps, I can go ahead and call a test evenly across all of the different bags. So we'll check back whenever I notice that we're hitting like that. Say, like I say, I think 235 would probably be a good mark when temp starts dropping. Okay, here we go with the B&B char log. The thing that I noticed about them for weight was that they seem to be pretty dense in weight. It doesn't seem like I quite have as much for the same exact weight, which is, like I say again, trying to run this test right at 1.5 pounds. So we'll give this the 10-minute start, give or take, because I was kind of videotaping there for 30-45 seconds, whatever it may have been. But we'll check back with it in 10 minutes and we'll get the test started. Okay, some of you may be wondering why I'm actually doing a char log. Per the bag, basically says through a unique process, the logs are made from hardwood lump charcoal. No chemical additives or fillers are added, which is so commonly found in many brands of briquettes sold today. Our competition char logs burn hotter, longer, and cleaner, providing consistent flavor, long-lasting burn time, performances for all your outdoor barbecue grilling experiences, with the added bonus of saving you both time and money. So again, that's what this test is all about, trying to figure out what we've got. Oh, I forgot to say, this is Texas style. So all you Texans out there, hopefully this lives up to any type of charcoal you're used to using. But again, this is what the test is for. We just dropped the charred logs in. Again, stack running wide open, and foot pedal in the start position all the way over, and we'll check back in 5 minutes. Shut her down, start reading some temps. Okay, so it's a 5-minute on the char log. Temperature, we are sitting at 179. So go ahead and choke back our stack and shut our foot pedal down. And we're probably sitting about 209 would be my guess from where it's at. Sorry I can't get the best angle on that. I know I'm reading a little bit different temperature than what you guys may be reading. But I'm a little bit more head on to it, as opposed to where I can kind of bend this tripod and get it into position. So we'll check back in another 5 minutes. Okay, 10 minutes in. Tip Q is reading 201, and stack temp is about 211. So I think in fairness to B&B, I did read on the package that it says that you start these char logs off with lighter fluid. Never really been much on lighter fluid other than starting a fire in a fire pit. I'm really not a big briquette fan by any means.
I have some. Sometimes I'll throw them in after I've already got some lump burning, just to sustain after something has been wrapped or something like that. But like I say, again, in fairness to B&B, to the test, it does say to start the logs off with lighter fluid. I did it with 2 starter cubes. Not really sure how much difference that made. Again, this product, because it is so dense, maybe it's made for more at one time in a starter chimney or in a basket to get up to temp. But I mean, again, at the 10-minute mark, this stuff really has not come up to where we are wanting to call the test at 245. So like I say, we're gonna see where this plays out. Sitting on 203, and it's at the 12-minute mark. So we'll check back in another 8 minutes or so.
Okay guys, welcome back. Next brand we're going to be doing is Chigger Creek. This one I know is out of St. Louis. Most of the hardwood lump charcoal seem to be out of St. Louis. They're a really good area for it, so go ahead and get this one opened up. And take a look at the lump size on this here. Okay. Again, compared to B&B, similar lump sizes, a little bit more, I would say, on the medium-sized chunk. There are some nice larger pieces, though. Got some in there, here. But overall, I would say more of a medium size. And left in the bag is just pretty much medium and fines. Is some little bit of breakage. And not noticing anything foreign in the bag whatsoever. You know, it's a big thing with a lot of them. You never know what you're going to get, some of the cheaper brands. That's why this test is pretty much doing premium only. And again, this is going to be the Chigger Creek. Go ahead and get this one set up.
Chigger Creek, 10 minutes in on the initial start. And I got lucky again, got my 1.85 ounce. So if we walk over, and got a nice red glowing hot burning fire, it looks like. So we'll get this in the basket and we'll get her loaded up. We'll be back in just a minute. Okay, got the Chigger Creek loaded into the basket. Got my exhaust wide open. And the intake at the start. Initial reading 136, 138's diving up pretty quick, or jumping up pretty quick. And about 170, and it's climbing pretty good. So we'll check back with it in 5 minutes. 5 minutes in on the Chigger Creek. Let's take a look at some temps here. Alright, so we're 275 on our temp. 276 temp probe. And I'm going to say we're about 302 on the stack. So let's bring that back to our eighth. Kick this over to our run. And see where we're at in just a few minutes here. 10 minutes in on the Chigger Creek. We've already reached our max temperature, I believe, of 283. So we're sitting at 267 on the chamber of the drum, and we're sitting, I'd say, about 255 on our exhaust temp. So I'm gonna leave this go for another 10 minutes and see where we end up. Chigger Creek, 20 minutes in. Temperature sitting at 248, so pretty close to calling it. And we're sitting, I'd say, about 242 on our exhaust. Okay, 2130 in basically. And we hit our temp. So it dropped even a little bit further. So we're gonna call it there. So the results on that one, we're looking at 5-minute stack temp of 276, or drum temp, I should say. Stack temp 302. 10-minute drum temp 265. Stack temp 255. 20-minute drum 246. Stack of 242. Our max temp was 283. Time to get to that 245 was 2130. 1.85 ounce, and max temp of the 283 was reached at about 8 minutes in. So we're going to go on to the Fogo next.
Okay, next in the test we have Fogo Premium Lump. So let's take a look at it. For chunk size, okay, as you can see, this is definitely a lot larger lump. Some really big pieces in here. Medium size, it looks like. In the bag, there's just a little, maybe a couple of mediums and some fines. From what I've heard, a lot of guys that cook on green eggs need good sized lump, so this actually may be a really good one for somebody that's cooking on an egg style. Not positive, but basket's probably going to fill up pretty quick. May not be a lot of lump for that 1.5 pound-ish kind of area, but we'll go ahead and get the basket loaded up, see how this works out.
Okay, starting the Fogo test, and got our lump in there. Again, like I say, the one thing I've noticed about the Fogo was the bag that I got is a super premium lump. I'm not sure, I've seen, this is like the yellow bag. I've actually seen like the black bags as well. I'm not sure what the difference is between them. These seem to be some pretty big chunk pieces though. I know I watched some videos on like the Kamado cookers, and those guys seem to like the larger chunk. Don't know if it sustains a longer burn or if it just allows them to get a little bit more air through their Kamado. So again, this was a decent mix. Got one nice bigger piece in there and quite a few mediums, so we'll check back with it in 10 minutes. Got a nice good wide over type fire, burning pretty hot, so we'll get this loaded in the basket. 5 minutes in on our Fogo. Go ahead and shut our exhaust down, shut our intake down, and we're looking at 295. So 295. And our intake, the exhaust is right at 290. So 295 and 290. And we'll check back in about four minutes or so, see what's happening. 10 minutes in on the Fogo. And we're sitting at 286. And let's say 268, 269. Call it 269. And I was watching on our max temp, we actually hit 294 for max temp. So we'll check back in 10 more minutes, see what's going on. Okay, 20 minutes in on Fogo, and sitting on 268, and I would say we're 250, 251, somewhere right in that range. Okay, we're right at the 35-minute mark. And this just started going off when we hit our 245, so it dropped to 244 already. So we're gonna go ahead and call the Fogo.
Next one we got today is the Good One lump. Believe this is also out of Missouri. So we're gonna open this one up here. Love it when they actually unthread the way they're supposed to. It's kind of nice. Gotten lucky today, actually, so let's dump this out. We'll take a look at the size on this one. Okay, good even disbursement on this one as well. Does have actually some smaller pieces in there, it looks like, some smaller fines, but there is a good even mixture, I think. It's got some nice bigger chunk pieces in here as well, but again, a lot of medium to smaller sizes. But overall, I think it's a decent mixture.
Okay, the 10-minute mark on the Good One. And it's got a good white over started on it. Looks pretty hot. So we're gonna dump this in, get the Good One started. 5 minutes in on Good One. And we're looking at 288. And stack is, I'd say, 308, 309. "10 minutes in on the Good One, and sitting on 297, and we're looking at, I would say, 282, and already did reach the high temp of 302. That was at 8 minutes in. So check back with it in about 9-10 minutes. 20 minutes in on Good One, and tap Q is reading Jeez, had some troubles there. 278. 278. And stack temperature, I would say, is sitting at 270. And we're 34 minutes in on the good one, and the temperature hit the 243. So we're going to call this one at that 34-minute mark.
Okay, everybody. Next up is Jealous Devil. We'll see what the size is all about with this one. One thing I can honestly say is that their bag actually is like a plastic bag, has a little zip at the top, and you just open it, you can reseal it, which is kind of cool. Not to really have to worry about too much moisture with lump. You're usually keeping it indoors, but could be something. It's a nice little bag, like I say. But lump size on this, it's got a good mix, really, actually. There are some larger pieces to it, it looks like. A little bit smaller than some of the larger pieces of the Fogo or Good One or some of the others, but nice even mixture of mediums, I would say. It's more mediums, I would say, than anything. One of the things about Jealous Devil is that they claim that they're a little bit hotter. They run a little bit hotter. Not sure really what goes into making anything hotter. I guess that's the science behind charcoal, which is kind of a cool thing, you know. The only thing I will have to say about the bag is just pouring it out, because it's a smaller mouth, a little bit harder, but how many times are you actually dumping out the whole bag? You're normally just reaching in and grabbing what you need, or just kind of shaking out what you need. So, but good pieces, I think. Definitely of a different look, I would say. A little bit more like a shiny gray, if you will. But let's go ahead and get this loaded into our scale. And
10 minutes in on the Jealous Devil. And good fire, good white over, good heat out of it. So I'll get it dumped into the coal basket and we'll go from there. 5 minutes on the Jealous Devil. Good. Shut our stack down. Shut our intake down. And we are sitting at 289. And I'm gonna call it 290. Jealous Devil, we're 10 minutes in, and actually we just reached our highest temp of 290 about a minute or so ago. So we're sitting on 289 and a stack temp of about 270, we'll call it. Okay, so it's the 5:30 mark. Our temperature went off. So 243, and stack temp, I would call it 238. 238. So it calls it for the Jealous Devil. So this is the start of the Rockwood, the last one we're testing. Okay, here with the Rockwood, I know it says 330, but I actually forgot to reset the timer for about a minute and a half. So, just making it up on this side of it. So we are at 260 and an exhaust temp of, I would say, we'll call it 280. So we'll go ahead and bring her down. And we'll see what it's gonna do. Okay, again, snafu on the timer, so I just reset it. So it had 5 minutes, tacked on to the other 5, gives me my 10 minutes. And this is running on Rockwood. So we've already reached a high temp of 266. That was at about 8:15 in. So we're sitting at 264. And again, if I'd have to call it, I would say sitting about 239, 240. So we'll just call it 240. 240 stack and 265. So again, you can kind of see how the numbers are playing out. And again, I will recap this at the end when we hit our 20 minutes here on our timer. So back on the Rockwood, our 5 minutes from previous to this 15 gives us our 20. So we are sitting at 249. And we're going to call it 230. Okay, so back with the Rockwood. My tablet just died for the. Okay, so we just hit our 245, dropped to 243. The tablet just died, so I was right at that 25-minute mark. So that's basically it on the Rockwood. And stack temp would be like 220, let's call it. So let me get this basket emptied out, my probe taken out, cleaned up, and I'll be back to recap. Okay, so to recap, started today's test, it was 77 degrees out. I just finished up, it's 79, so I think it got to a high of about 82. So basically, all the charcoals, they had a 10-minute startup in the chimney. All had a 5-minute in the drum with the tank, with the intake wide open and exhaust wide open. After 5 minutes of being in the drum, went ahead and shut the intake down to the run position, and then the exhaust down to quarter, eighth, somewhere right in that area. So possible variables in this test. The lump weight was minimal because pretty much every single one of them I got right at 1.85 ounces. Lump size is somewhat of a variable, and exhaust opening is minimal. I had put somewhat, but I think I was pretty much right even with everything as far as the opening. If it did vary, I don't think it varied very much at all. But thanks for tuning in, guys. Again, appreciate it. And like and subscribe, as always. And basically, again, I don't know that I was really surprised necessarily with any of the results, because I didn't go into it expecting anything in particular. So I guess the one standout one would be the B&B char log. Again, they say you're supposed to start with lighter fluid. Lighter fluid to me kind of throws an off taste, not a real big fan of it. So I did start every one of these. I started in a chimney with 2 starter cubes and let it burn for 10 minutes, and then took it off, put it into the basket, and put it into the drum. It's a Hunsaker drum, so it's a higher performance drum, I feel. Probably it's arguable comparatively to, say, pit barrel. I know there's guys out there that love pit barrels. I'm not knocking pit barrel by any means, guys. Just that after a little bit of my own personal research, decided on the Hunsaker, that's all.
So, like I say, after 5 minutes or after 10 minutes of the initial startup of the charcoal, dropped it into the basket, and then went ahead and let the drum run with a wide open intake, wide open exhaust, coming up to temp. And like I say, the only one stand out would have been that B&B char log. Definitely gonna test that one again. Same parameters, and then also I'll probably do the lighter fluid just to see what we're looking at on it. But I don't know. But like I say, there really weren't any standouts. I don't think necessarily. I think that if I had to pick one based on lump size alone, I would definitely say the Fogo had the largest lumps to it. If I had to pick one solely based on performance, again, looking at the numbers, it's probably a toss-up, guys, really honestly, between Good One and Jealous Devil. Jealous Devil outlasted the temp to 245, better than any of them at 35 minutes, 30 seconds. But we're only talking a minute and a half comparatively to the Good One. The Good One temp at 5 minutes was 1 degree less than a Jealous Devil. It was a couple of degrees higher after 10 minutes. So Jealous Devils claim that they burn hotter, burn faster, or not faster, but longer. I would say in the test it did burn slightly longer. 30 seconds comparatively longer to the Fogo, which was at 35. So I think really in a nutshell, to wrap it up, I'm going to say premium lump charcoal is premium lump charcoal. I mean, you're paying a little bit higher dollar. I would say that the dollar range in the bags ran anywhere from I'm going to say about 18 up to close to $30. So is there one standout? Again, if you're buying a $30 bag, I'm going to say no. I think that if you've got a favorite charcoal, or if you've got a local charcoal to yourself that you guys like, stick with it. Really, I think that's what this test ends up proving. And I've got a couple of local stores that carry some various brands. So I kind of buy where there may be a sale, or maybe where I'm close to that day, whatever it may be. So, but again, all things equal, I appreciate you tuning in. And if you have any questions, if you guys have any experience with your own lump charcoals, please put it in the comments, and I'll try to get to any of your questions. And I appreciate you tuning in, guys. This is Ted from It's All About the Rack. Take care, guys.